telling you, in 20 years' time, people will look at our BIM of today and say, how did they make it work? 40, 50 models held together by sticky tape. Not that big. I mean, $1 billion project, right, is roughly 600,000 BIM objects, right? There's 6 million objects in a 737. There's 25 billion objects in an A9 processor. We are really dealing with things that are simple. Let's make them work. Okay. On that note,
what we've done with that, right? We had a pane. There's a clear pane. We say technology is there. Actually, a lot of it is available. But what about the process? How do we stitch the things together? No, at the end of the day, we are delivering airports. We are not delivering BIM models. We are delivering rail systems. We are not delivering spreadsheets of data just for the sake of it, right? What we really need is something that incubates better process, because that process is what actually has. Technology, yes, it's there to support the process, but it's about the process. So,
for the quantity of information we are managing, the amount of effort that we have to put in is incredible. We got an award for it, but it doesn't work.
That's not an unusual story. Yes, all the theory sounds great, and if everything in an idealistic world happens exactly the way that we plan it to be, yes, it works. But the reality on the ground is it doesn't. There are a lot of loopholes where things don't go right, and I guess those are the pain points. It's that you just big gaps in the story, and those gaps are different for different people.
Technology is there, but contractual agreements, mutual collaboration, gain share.
The hypothesis was actually we can do better. Let's call it not necessarily it's broken, but we can do better, and I think
biggest pain is actually making it basic. We have to make things work. Maybe collaboration is not happening.
How do you foster round trip into a PCA?
PCA because they have so far so many BIM related diplomas, but after they graduate as a BIM diploma holder, are they BIM ready?
I thought that Singaporean.
Actually, you gain this experience by doing projects, definitely.
Well, fundamentally, it's experience, though, isn't it?
we want to share the fact that it was exactly like you are.
Why am I so inefficient? Where is all my money going? What am I doing wrong? How can I move resources to a more thinking space rather than doing space? And this is the major driver for that. Let's think what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years time. Let's
To know that Langeroog is retraining 4,500 people.
Supply chain needed to have a space. Yeah. So definitely it's a good starting point. By
Crossrail Academy might it be the role model for PCA.
about changing the business model rather than saying you need to do it and this is how you do it, right?
A lot of people said we moaned a lot. Why don't you try to bring up some solutions? Cataloging all the problems and exchanging cards and exchanging ideas. Often their solution already exists.
It's hugely important to also share that innovation. This is where we started from, right? Open innovation, open source thinking rather than is it addressing the right pain points for the construction industry? Right? We need to be more digitized, data-centric, crowdsourced, open and transparent. We want to attract people that are passionate, visionary, open to share the problems, right? And broken process and innovation, and we turn it into the process pains, innovation workshops, opportunity labs, and innovation projects. But the idea is to collect these pains, share the pains, make sure that we have a basis to start with. And then we also collect the opportunities across the industry, because it's not only, the pains are not only happening within the company, but potentially the same pains are shared across, come together, because they share the pains. So process pains, very briefly. So each pain's got an environment, how does it manifest itself, what is the potential solution for that pain. Okay, but it's about identification, classification, grouping. So it's really almost an academic work, but ultimately we want to make sure that we have this innovation platform that's available industry-wide. But one of the pains was the contractual pain. So what do we do with that? We run a workshop. And now we're having few opportunities about payments, about insurance that are coming across as potential project, innovation projects. Stakeholders and employers and stakeholders requirements are fully defined.
If all it's doing is the wrong thing, you're just doing the wrong thing faster. That's why we talked about process innovation. Digitizing is just not enough. Who says that BIM is clash detection? That's insanity. You want clash avoidance. How much would it cost to build it right first time?
And we are at this stage where we identified some pains. We run an innovation workshop around some ideas, opportunities, pains, and then we push it through to the next stage.
PAS 1192 and BS 1192 2016 and the Singapore BIM Guide. If you contrast the two, what's the difference between PAS 1192 and the Singapore BIM Guide? Without offending CCA, what's the difference? As a consultant, we normally write specification with the client and pass it to the contractor. Most of the time, this specification is very ambiguous. So we have to identify the key aspects, and then from there, identify the pain points, and then we try to organize the pain points, and then we try to come up with a solution. I hope the solution will be a structured BIM VDC specification.
So we have around half an hour, right, to identify pain points.
Regarding the specification. Right?
How do we group? So this is, shall we do that? It's quite random. So that's one group.
From the most detailed element of BIM in terms of what is the physical deliverable or the actual elements, parameters and attributes, in fact that they're currently very undefined. Really, only the consultant will know how they will work with the other partners in the team, and the client should be part of that process but should not dictate the actual execution plan. What we're asking is, as a client, is what do you want at the end of the day? How do you create a menu that says these are the potential deliverables? The other major pain point that we have is a wait-and-see culture in the industry in Singapore. The client's requirement is a BIM execution plan or defines how you will do something. The problem is the industry will only do that, and they'll do it exactly that way. And they won't challenge and say it can be done better.
Client doesn't have, the vision of BIM in the understanding of it. Lack of continuity of requirement across the life cycle gets affected, and then the information is not reliable across the stakeholders. And then at the end of the day, you do design, construction, do we actually utilize the BIM model after the facility management? This is not actually clearly stated out in the project. In the Singapore context, there's a limitation of scope, whereas the designer only cares about the design, and the contractors only care about how to build, the project.
For us, our stakeholders business owner is, we have consist of two consultants from architects and engineering, and two educators. So your position, whichever you are, is to deliver a food, a chicken that's cooked nice and to the owner. If the owner orders a chicken, you have to find ways to cook, and then hopefully it comes back to you. That's the objective, right? So the BIM itself, or whichever VDC you call it, is just behind the kitchen, the process of doing it. Technical owners and non-technical owners, what kind of chicken they want, spicy chicken or salty chicken, or soy sauce chicken, or soy sauce with spicy, and it goes on. Then I think owner needs to define the process on how things are going to be done, but not so stringent that you expect the cooks to cook like the water for 5 minutes and then boil the chicken and things like that. No.
And identifying some potential opportunities or speculations around what would make this pain disappear.
Owners, when you write specification, you are the one dictating what you need to receive. So first of all, you must know what you can receive. So first of all, building capability within owners, that is the first step that we will say that is a major leap through. Second of all, the whole framework within the organization needs to be structured enough to allow for interfacing between design stage, construction, asset management. They have to know that information is not carried forward. One specification doesn't last for all 3 stages. They are interrelated, yes. They have to know what is the interrelations. which is in a sense another step to educating owners, knowing what is the interrelation and how to make use of this interrelation to generate information for your own usage during your stage.
Industry, potentially the industry, if the client doesn't know how to ask for something, then what's actually important is that the industry defines what its capability is.
Just let them cultivate a relationship with each other, sufficient trust, so that they can shake hands on their own. This is something that the industry have to change.
But
Unlimited
this one
powers.
requires contractual framework, right, to do that.
He said unlimited powers,
And authority.
unlimited authority. So this is
It's the god.
So who's the next god? Rob, do you wanna
Yeah,
have a go on?
want to try to define it in the basic terms. It's a new way of working. It's it's a different mindset at the end of the day, and currently right now what the industry is having actually is the mindset of a different platform. So it's not a three-dimensional platform, and it's quite different. So in order for us to really be efficient in trying to implement this framework, is that we have to change the mindset of people. Ultimately going and managing your facility with the use of BIM, and it should be clearly defined actually, not only in the facility management but in the whole process itself. The picture you showed a while ago was a bit enticing. You were showing beers, and everybody was happy. This one, no beers. It's different. And going back,
We promise the beers next time, right?
and going back, actually, I want to mention this because I actually believe personally that BIM is actually giving back the power back to the architects of bringing back the master builder culture. Actually, we can create a model that is so detailed that when we actually somehow we can use this into the construction and just build the structure itself.
Okay.
We modify the footprint of a full metro station and reissue 7,500 drawings with full builder's work penetration and recalculation of all structural and heat gains in 45 minutes. Once it's code, it's code. It's code diagram.
actually just thinking out loud, right? If we think of BIM capability within each organization has a product, on the part of our educating owners, how product vendors go around to make presentations. Why not have the same arrangement? So you tell us what's your internal process, what you can model, what you cannot, what can you deliver, what can you include in the information. That will help us come up with a specification because we know that what the market comes up with. So what is out there in the market?
Looks like a proposal for an initiative.
I'm talking about organizations, designers, architects, your internal organization who bid for our contract, your process. So
But
why not show us what?
during
So it shouldn't be ultimately the construction project should be focusing on the construction, the ultimate deliverable at the physical asset. So BIM is a process, like what Richard is saying.